What is up, down, and sideways, you beautiful people? We're back inside League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys for some post-semifinals action breakdown and lots of records, lots of first times that we're going to have heading to this year's finals. And it started in those semis because this is the first time at the World Championship we've ever had both semifinals go to 5 games.
Hey, they delivered. Finally, we get some good League of Legends on the weekend.
Had to make up for the quarterfinals, yeah. Ugh.
Absolutely, coming off of a slightly lackluster, to be on the safe side, quarterfinals that we just had. Semifinals do not disappoint. We had an absolute legendary banger between T1 and Damwon Kia, and of course, still the next day, we got treated to another Silver Scrapes 5 games from EDG and Gen G.
And the T1 versus Damwon, that's where we're going to start. That was the pegged real finals by everybody. Obviously, the storylines here. Showmakers looked up to Chovy, or to Faker, not Chovy. You know, he looks down on Chovy, of course. But now he said in the video, you know, it's nice being called the next Faker, but I'm just Showmaker. And you know what? At this point, he's earned that. He's not the next Faker anymore. He's just Showmaker.
That to me is the biggest thing that says, you know, one of the big things that says that this player is at another level than any other star, never mind a superstar as well. When you talk about Showmaker, that next level of going, oh, the most storied player in League of Legends history, the Michael Jordan of League of Legends, yeah, that'd be nice to be compared to him. But I want to be me. I want to be me because I know I'm good. I'm better. That's the type of star that Showmaker is. His performance in this series absolutely backs that up.
And there was a ton of hype coming into this series, you know, already before a game was even played, comparing it to Rocks versus SKT. I'm not saying it was better than that series. That's still the best series of all time. But this 5-game set absolutely lived up to the hype. There was the key things to look at for a fantastic best of 5 is the evolution of pick ban and the meta. We've seen that throughout Worlds with things, you know, like exhaust for 80 carries, something that really came through in this series. And then specifically, you know, you had the Misfortune support in 2016. This year, you had the Zillion support for Kyria.
And it absolutely was a nightmare for Damwon to deal with initially. The way that it was able to go is, you know, look, you're a team that wants to engage in. You're going to be fighting. You're going to have that deal with that Zillion ultimate, resurrecting one of the key carries, one of those solo laners. If executed properly, that's what we got to see. And Kyria was doing fantastic with it. Never mind some of the combinations that we got to see, putting it alongside the Jhin. Making nasty with the Jhin bomb into the W root, and then slide on in Mr. Zillion to put the double bombs in for another stun. It was nasty.
I've seen the YouTube videos of people going full movement speed Jhin and just racing around the map, and that's what it looked like with that Zillion pick. 1-0-19 was Kyria on that first game of Zillion action. That was in Game 3, and it was the, I guess, same as that Rocks Tiger series, which I keep comparing to. 2-1 up for T1. They had the match point in this series, and Game 4, maybe the most iconic individual performance for Showmaker on the LeBlanc against Faker. 11-0-3. It was 18-1 in kills. Far and away the biggest stomp of the series in Game 4.
And it'd be easy to put almost every single ounce of praise you possibly could muster for this game onto Showmaker's 11-0-3 performance on the LeBlanc. But I want to make sure that people are taking note and giving praise to Canyon in this relationship, because that was a big part of getting to that point of having the advantages early enough to then pressure them throughout the mid to late game and expanding upon them from Showmaker. Game 4 was utter dominance all across the board, from Damwon Kia to extend us to the Game 5, and Showmaker's LeBlanc a major part of it. But don't forget about the job Canyon did to get him off the ground.
Yeah, Canyon was fantastic throughout pretty much every game in this series, even some of the losses for Damwon as well. Then it was this Game 5 where the Zillion support comes back, this time the Aphelios for Gumiyoshi, but they were ready. Damwon was ready for this pick with the Ziggs Rakan bot lane, and specifically the Ziggs and Zoe for Showmaker. The team fights were pretty simple. You have the Zillion, okay, we'll just pick someone off with poke. You use the ulti, we'll do it again.
It was one of those situations where you looked at T1 and you're following through the draft just focused on the T1 side. You're thinking, this is fantastic. Everything is lining up. We're getting the scaling. We're getting the champions that were fantastic on 15-2 on Aphelios for Gumiyashi stepping in to this game 5. The way that the Zillion dominated early in the series, you're thinking, this is fantastic. But then your eyes shifted over to the Damwon side of the draft and you realize, uh-oh, they got everything that they wanted too. They put their composition exactly up against ours and what we were getting our strengths. And that's what you saw. T1 managed to get through the game pretty good, all things considered, and has some strength where you're looking, okay, they've scaled up. They're going to go to this team fight. It's going to be okay. And then the team fight never played out the way that Team 1 wanted. They never were able to get any type of proper engage or initiation because of the way the poke composition was positioned from Damwon and executed upon with those skill shots landed.
And I think the biggest thing, especially in this game 5, because it really comes down to the two huge team fights around Baron and then around the Elder Dragon, which sealed the game. And those could have gone either way depending on how teams played it out. But Damwon, their team fighting is something we've talked about for 2 years now, basically. They played it absolutely cleanly in these last 2 fights. Not just Showmaker, Ghost on the Ziggs, but Khan on the Graves, everyone top to bottom. Beryl had a fantastic series, and especially the last Elder Dragon fight where they've already released the comms, you can hear Damwon talking. It's crazy to hear Beryl a lot of the time. He's directing other players what to do. In those clips you hear him say, Khan, stop hitting the Elder Dragon. Ghost, save your E for when they come over here. That is some micromanaging at its finest.
It's a great reminder to a lot of us the type of impact that Beryl has for this Damwon lineup, especially the way that we had seen him struggle throughout the majority of this year, and to see, a relative, I'm not going to go all the way because of how good he had been at its peak, but a relative return to form from Beryl at this event. And certainly, as you mentioned, through those comms, seeing the type of impact that he has and control with the rest of this lineup. In that game 5, those big fights, those big moments, one of the things that I think back and look back at, knowing the results, is some of those engages, those tries to, catch someone and scoop them up from Faker on the Azir. You can see how desperate and the pressure that is on these players in a game 5 situation, realizing that a return to the finals, Faker has not touched Summoner's Cup for over 5 years. You could see that in the gameplay, in the decision making, how desperate they were to try and get it. And you know what? Sometimes it's just 1 or 2 frames away from having been able to scoop someone back, block off Canyon in that earlier part. Little things like that could have changed the course of this all-important Game 5.
Yeah, you had the one pickoff for Canyon when he's waiting in the bush on the Talon. By the way, 5 different champions in these 5 games for Canyon, just to highlight him again. But yeah, with the Azir and the Kennen for Kana in that Game 5 against a poke comp, it's absolutely up to those 2 champions to find these engages before this poke warfare can get underway. And they just, kudos to Damwon, they did a good job dancing around that. But yeah, the Kennen for Kana and the Azir for Faker just couldn't get these engages.
Yeah, and those are the 2 champions where if you're not getting those engages, they're going to look relatively useless, right? As far as how they're trying to get things off, and especially into that composition that Damwon had. As we mentioned, it is those engages. It's the ultimate from Kennen that needs to land, needs to get those big stuns, and it didn't happen enough in this crucial Game 5 for T1.
And I'm happy that because Damwon was slumping so much throughout the year, that throughout this World Championship, we've absolutely seen them back to that world-class form. And you can't, despite for some things that T1 could have improved upon, I don't think you can be disappointed. Damwon just played better.
There's no disappointment in losing to this type of Damwon team. The power that they have, the star individual players as well. And then you flip over on the other side to T1, and you're talking about over 151 international games of experience from Faker, and he's looking left and right, and they're guys with 9 games, and those 9 games are from this world.
Yeah, 3 of them, it's their first international tournament.
There's no way you could be disappointed at what has been accomplished and gained from this group at this event, and even in this 5-game series against Damwon. When you look back at their summer series against Damwon, and it was only the 4 games, it was 3-1 for Damwon Kia. And the job that T1 did in this series, the way that they leveled up, how much more competitive it was, how hard they pushed players like Showmaker on Damwon, you cannot be disappointed at this effort from 2021 T1.
Khan is down to his final series, probably, of his career. Win or lose in the finals. They have a chance to join SKT/T1 as the only squad to win back-to-back finals. And if you're T1, I hope they keep this roster together, because all these rookie guys on the huge stage, the main stage, another year development under their belt, they're going to be a terrifying team next year.
I hope they really do. I think the discussion needs to be had about Kana, if he is going to be someone you want to continue to invest in his development, his progression, or do you want to look at the free agency market and try and take a big swing at someone, like Nuggery, possibly, on maybe an FPX explosion roster. But you have to also think about what your choice is going to be in the bottom lane, because it looked pretty damn good with Gumayashi at this event. But I tell you what, there's no way Teddy is going to want to sit on the sidelines for another year when he knows that he can perform at that type of level.
Hello, Damwon? It's Teddy. Get me out of here.
and that might be the biggest importance of this decision and how they manage it with T1, is making sure that he doesn't go over to Damwon, because you better believe that is a scary idea, having the general join forces with Showmaker.
Future looking bright either way for both Damwon and T1 in the coming years in the LCK. The other semifinal, EDG versus Gen G, I think equally lived up to the hype, because we had a 5-game series with them, and the first 3 games at the very least all had pretty insane and close endings. Like, I'm talking the Nexus exploding, the game could have been extended. This series was very back and forth.
Oh yeah, there were punches going on from both sides, Gen G and EDG, throughout this one. The 5 games to go all the way, absolutely not the exact level of hype and excitement that we did see, yes, in the T1 Damwon Kia series, but you can't hold every series to that type of standard. This one more than delivered for the fans on the Sunday.
And going, later into the series, I think the biggest thing, Viper and Scout, obviously during the LPL summer, that was your key dual carry threat that absolutely dominated. We hadn't seen it to the same level at the World Championship. This was the best handful of games that they had played at Worlds, both individually, by far.
Major important player makers right there, and that's going to be key in that final against Damwon Kia, is having those two play at a superstar level. Specifically, Scout is the one I want to highlight. Again, Faker had to be at an all-time level to be up against Showmaker, and you know what? Showmaker still edges out the way that he does and how fantastic he can perform. Scout needs to be back up to that level. Scout has dueled with Faker at this event, got the better of him that one time. Needs to find a way to do that against Showmaker in the finals.
Yeah, 4 different champions for Scout, including, some of the staple BDD picks. He piloted the Zoe pretty damn well himself, pulling that away from BDD. And seeing Viper and Mako on that Lucian Nami bot lane, that is how you play that duo to near perfection.
That's an LPL bot lane right there. You better believe it, watching the way that they piloted those two champions. That is going to be a big key as well in this, obviously heading towards the finals. And I want to highlight it not just because of the way that the job that Viper was doing. Mako, we just talked about Beryl and the role and the importance that he has with Damwon Kia. Slap Mako right in there, my man, because absolutely the way that he is controlling some of the engages and the way that things work for this EDG team, there's no way we can't give praise over to that veteran support.
And I mentioned the first 3 games because that was when it was very back and forth. I think, to a lot of people's surprise, Gen G is the one who goes up 2-1, and then it's the old 1-2 comfort zone, because games 4 and 5 were the stomps of the series for EDG, and over those last 2 games, it was 40-9. 40-9 in terms of kill score total in favor of EDG.
And as we were getting into the halfway point of this series, I was still having a hard time going who I really wanted to win, who I wanted to decide to go face Damwon, knowing that was the opponent waiting. those games 4 and 5 absolutely convinced me that I want to see EDG. That's who I need to see stack up to try and stop a Damwon repeat.
And I know we wanted T1 Damwon in the finals. That was the real finals. Who cares now about the finals? Look at EDG. Maybe the form, wasn't as high as the other semifinal matchup. If you don't think EDG is going to put up a fight in this final, I don't know what to tell you. You haven't been watching them all year.
Yeah, my man, the way that EDG fights, the way that the LPL undefeated in best of series at this World Championship so far. Nothing to say about the other LPL performances. Absolutely. Ignore that. I have to watch this one for sure, but this finals, the excitement should be there if you've followed along. And if you haven't, my man, number 1 in the LPL versus number 1 in the LCK. This is the clash of the two titans.
First time that we've ever had that matchup, those two first seeds in the finals, and it's the 4th year in a row. EDG does keep the LPL streak alive of making a finals appearance. They've been doing that since 2018 when IG made it. Damwon are going to be the big favorites in this, of course. Defending world champs, just took down T1, have looked fantastic across this board. Could it go to 5 games? Well, we'll be doing a full preview, but I'm just happy that EDG didn't have another disappointing tournament run, because now you can be happy regardless of the result. Even if they are getting 3-0 slammed, to be honest, by Damwon, the run that they've had and how they turned around their form after that rough last day of group stage, 2 big thumbs up to EDG for this run.
Yeah, this is something that I think the EDG fans, the long-term EDG fans, which I'm pretty sure if you're an EDG fan, you have to have been a long-term fan. I don't know any short-term ones that have come through. You are absolutely eating this up, enjoying the spotlight and the sun. This is what you want to be having. This is a good story in esports. And you know what? I'm pretty sure that we are going to get something more than just 3-0 in the finals.
And whoever had on their bingo card Viper being the first Griffin member to make it to the World Finals, congratulations, you got there.
As long as you didn't have Sword, you're doing okay, my man.
Yeah, you're going to burn that bingo card if that's what you ended up doing. But EDG in great form, Damwon in great form. It's going to be another fantastic World Finals, even over the weekend. It doesn't matter. Off-season rumors, they come, they go. Even if it's semifinals at Worlds, there is no breaks. We've alluded to this Perks and Alfari rumor about them going to EU, being potentially linked to Vitality. But this story is already progressing, because eSports Manicos, who initially kind of broke this story, is now saying they may have already signed both Perks and Alfari, something that's been in talks for over a week now with the team itself. And it looks like this is even more legit than we initially thought, Mark.
I knew it. I knew that this was going to happen. Esports Manicos, they just said, oh my goodness, that idiot on League Unlock, he finally said that there's no chance that Perks and Alfara are joining forces. And even better, he said no chance on Vitality. They dropped the news. This is where it's going, my man. Every offseason that we've been going through recently, Perks, with G2, Reckless with G2. Here we are again with another one for the LEC, and I'm eating my words on this one again, because this looks like to be a very done deal. Yeah,
it's still not confirmed, of course. Nothing can be confirmed until the middle of November, but eSports Manicos have been very reliable over the last couple of splits, especially in regards to EU players. So now you're looking at Alfari, Selfmade, Perks. Again, they've said that they're looking at some world-class AD carries, or how they describe it, and I mean, that can be open for interpretation who you're classifying under that, but to me, it's a pretty damn short list of EU AD carries. You got Reckless, Hansama. I guess you could throw in Upset, absolutely, and maybe Carzzy, but any of those 4 lining up with those 3 I just mentioned, that's a contender in Europe.
I'm borderline on the Carzzy joining that group type of thing. I think maybe a little bit more, one more accomplishment, one trophy in the cabinet. I think absolutely can put Carzzy in that category. But right now, you're talking world class, Reckless and Hansama, and for me, the lead run would be Hansama. Right now, it is crazy to think that this is where we're at. A little less that I can buy that it's happening with the LEC in that type of sense, understanding that Jack and Steve aren't going to let it combine in the LCS. Make sure, of course, and other things. I'm still surprised because, again, we hear it all the time the last 2-3 years about Vitality. They're going to finally put it together, a super team. Well, this is going to be a super team if you're already starting with Alfari and Perks in the form that we have seen them be in this past year from North America.
So I very much see Hansama leaving Rogue because he is going to get fielded maybe some of the most insane offers of any of the EU players, especially after his performance at Worlds.
Perks is in the hot tub already, my man. It's a done deal.
And even if it's not to Vitality, he's going to be going somewhere. Reckless going to Vitality seems less unlikely because of your boy Ocelot. If he knows this rumor is coming of Perks and Alfari joining that squad, there's no way in hell he's letting Reckless go to that team.
When they said that there was going to be no blocking, they were going to let everybody go where they wanted to go, that was before this came out. And you better believe the type of gamesmanship that Carlos wants to have, the type of control that he wants to have, and type of owner that he wants to be in the LEC. There's going to be absolutely some stuff going on behind the scenes.
A mid-jungle duo of Selfmade and Perks. The LEC is absolutely frothing at the mouth for all of the teasers and profile pieces, trash talk videos that they could do with those two, especially with Perks coming back to EU. Oh my god.
You know what? They're trying to find a way to book Perks a tattoo appointment so he can get 6 million tattooed right across like this, and they're putting him right beside Reckless. That's how they're gonna do the picture.
Every single video that they'll do, it will be him there. That's the perfect way to do it. But obviously, last year for Vitality, it almost seemed like a dress rehearsal. They're like, we'll get Leader, we'll get Selfmade over, Crown Shot stays, okay, that's the stepping stones, and then we do the real super team drop the next year. We got too hyped with the G2 roster this year on paper, so depending on what this Vitality roster ends up being, I'm tempering my expectations with whatever it is.
All I know is I'm gonna say that I'm gonna temper my expectations, and then I just know that as we get closer to the season, and if the way the lineup shapes up, the way rumors have been saying, I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna be full on board on the hype train. Is the way that this goes. And I think that this is going to be an exciting time for LEC fans because it hasn't really been a situation. They've had all their talent leaving to finally get talent coming back home, and to put together a super team back home in this type of way, absolutely, I think brings some next level excitement for the EU fan base.
And if they do keep Labrov as support, which I think they should, he's still a young player who needs more opportunity on the big stage. If he stays, he's going to wake up one day and be like, What is this team? I've played on some pretty rough Vitality rosters. This doesn't look like the same squad.
I mean, leveling up big time. And I think you're right on Labrov being one of the players, and probably the only player that you really do look at from this Vitality roster. And you say, absolutely, without a doubt, I think that you want to keep him, and he's the guy that you want to be working in to this group, because understanding that, yes, bringing in all 5 players brand new, all 4 other ones with Perks, you want him? Sure, that's some type of situation, but a reality type of one, bringing in a more realistic. And I know in this situation, more realistic means probably actually less likely the way things have gone.
Yeah.
I think that Labrov is the guy that you want to stick with, and you've already got that figured out.
You got to go off the grid, kind of like you do pick'ems at Worlds and predicting off-season moves now, it seems like. But if a world-class AD carry of any kind is joining Perks and Alfari on this roster, I can guarantee you the Twitter followers for Team Vitality are probably going to triple by the time 2022 is rolling around. But that is it today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will catch you on that flippity flip.